Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. You never know what somebody is going through. Every single person you pass on the street is fighting a battle you can't see. Some people are smiling outside, but breaking inside. And sometimes God sends ordinary people to perform extraordinary acts of kindness. Kindness can change someone's darkest day. A lot of people underestimate the power of one small act of compassion because they think changing somebody's life requires money, fame, or some huge sacrifice. But the truth is, sometimes the smallest gesture can become the very thing that keeps another person going. Every single day, people are silently fighting battles nobody knows about. Some are struggling financially, some are emotionally broken, and some are carrying pain so heavy that even getting out of bed feels impossible. Yet they still smile, still pretend they're okay, and still try to survive another day. That's why kindness matters more than ever in this world. You never truly know what someone is going through behind closed doors. Imagine a woman sitting beside her sick husband, worried about medical bills, exhausted from stress, and emotionally drained from trying to stay strong. Her mind is racing with fear. Her heart feels heavy, and she probably feels completely alone. Then a delivery driver shows up at her door. To most people, he's just doing his job, just another worker making deliveries. But what separates ordinary people from extraordinary people is the ability to care. Instead of rushing away, he notices her pain. He notices the sadness in her eyes and the tiredness in her voice. In that moment, he has a choice: ignore it and leave, or show compassion. And when somebody chooses kindness during another person's darkest moment, that kindness becomes unforgettable. The beautiful thing about compassion is that it gives people hope. It reminds them they are not invisible. Sometimes people don't need somebody to solve all their problems. They just need to feel seen. They just need one moment that restores their faith in humanity again. A kind word, a helping hand, or even a few minutes of genuine care can completely shift somebody's emotional state. What may feel small to you could mean everything to someone else. We live in a world where people are becoming colder, more distracted, and more focused on themselves. Everybody is busy, everybody is struggling, but kindness is powerful because it interrupts pain, it brings light into dark moments, and the amazing part is kindness spreads. One selfless action inspires another. One caring heart can influence hundreds of people without even realizing it. That delivery driver may never fully understand the impact he made, but for that woman and her husband, his compassion became a moment they would never forget. Real heroes don't wear capes. Most of the time, they don't stand on big stages, appear on television, or receive awards for what they do. Real heroes are ordinary people who choose to do extraordinary things when nobody is watching. They are the people who quietly help others without expecting attention, praise, or recognition. In today's world, society often teaches people to admire wealth, fame, and popularity, but true greatness is found in character. A person's real value is revealed by how they treat others, especially those who are struggling and unable to give anything back in return. Think about a delivery driver working long hours every day, driving through traffic, carrying stress, and trying to earn enough to support himself or his family. Most people would assume he's just focused on finishing his shift and getting through the day. But sometimes the most powerful people are the ones with the kindest hearts. When that driver arrived at the woman's house and noticed the pain she was carrying because of her husband's illness, he didn't ignore it. He didn't pretend not to see her sadness. He allowed compassion to guide his actions instead of selfishness. That's what makes somebody a real hero. Not strength, not money, not status, but heart. The world is full of people who walk past suffering every single day without stopping to care. Some people say it's not my problem, while others are too distracted by their own lives to notice somebody else's pain. But heroes are different. Heroes pay attention. They see the tears hidden behind forced smiles. They notice when somebody is emotionally exhausted. And instead of turning away, they choose kindness. That choice can completely change another person's life. The beautiful thing about real heroes is that they remind humanity that goodness still exists. In a world filled with negativity, betrayal, and selfishness, seeing someone act with genuine compassion restores hope. It inspires people to become kinder themselves. Sometimes one selfless action creates a chain reaction that touches many lives. A hero doesn't need superpowers to save somebody. Sometimes all it takes is empathy, understanding, and the willingness to care. That delivery driver may never realize how important his actions were, but to that struggling woman, he became proof that there are still good people in this world. Long after the delivery was forgotten, she would remember how somebody showed kindness, during one of the hardest moments of her life. And that's what true heroes do. They leave light in places filled with darkness. Small acts create big miracles. Many people spend their lives believing that in order to make a difference, they must do something massive, dramatic, or life-changing on a grand scale. But the truth is, some of the most powerful moments in life begin with the smallest actions. A simple smile, a few encouraging words, a helping hand, or a moment of compassion can completely transform somebody's day. People often forget that human hearts are deeply affected by the little things because during painful moments, even the smallest kindness feels enormous. Imagine a woman emotionally exhausted from caring for her sick husband every single day. Her mind is overwhelmed with fear, stress, and uncertainty. She's trying to stay strong, but deep inside she feels tired and alone. Then a delivery driver arrives at her door. To the outside world, it may look like an ordinary delivery, just another routine stop during a busy shift. But life-changing moments rarely announce themselves loudly. Sometimes miracles arrive quietly, disguised as simple human kindness. That driver could have completed the delivery and walked away without saying a word. Most people probably would have. After all, everybody has their own struggles and responsibilities, but instead, he chose to notice her pain. He chose empathy over indifference. And in that small moment, something powerful happened. The woman no longer felt invisible. She no longer felt abandoned by the world. One small act of care gave her emotional strength during one of the darkest seasons of her life. People underestimate how much emotional weight others are carrying every day. Some individuals are one kind gesture away from breaking down in tears because they have been silently suffering for so long. That's why small acts matter. They remind people that goodness still exists. They restore hope when life feels unbearable. Sometimes people are not looking for someone to solve all their problems. They simply want reassurance that they are not alone. The beautiful thing about kindness is that it spreads naturally. One act inspires another. When people witness compassion, it encourages them to become more compassionate themselves. A small miracle created by one person can continue touching lives far beyond what anyone realizes. That delivery driver may have thought he was only helping for a few moments, but the emotional impact of his actions could stay in that woman's heart forever. In a world where negativity spreads quickly, kindness becomes even more powerful. Small acts may seem ordinary at first, but to someone who is hurting, they can feel life-changing. Sometimes the greatest miracles are not loud or dramatic. Sometimes they happen quietly between two strangers when one human being decides to care about another human being. Compassion is more powerful than money. A lot of people spend their entire lives chasing wealth because they believe money is the answer to every problem. They think success is measured by expensive cars, luxury houses, designer clothes, or large bank accounts. But life has a way of teaching people that during the hardest moments, emotional support and genuine kindness become far more valuable than material things. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot replace love, care, understanding, or human connection. Some of the richest people in the world still feel empty inside because compassion is something money can never truly purchase. Imagine a woman struggling emotionally while taking care of her sick husband. Her world feels heavy. Every day is filled with stress, fear, and uncertainty. Medical bills are probably piling up, sleep is becoming harder to find, and emotionally she feels exhausted from trying to stay strong for someone she loves deeply. In moments like that, people often feel invisible. They feel forgotten by the world. And sometimes what hurts the most is not the financial pressure, but the emotional loneliness that comes with suffering. Then a delivery driver arrives at her door. He is not a millionaire. He doesn't have fame, power, or expensive gifts to offer. He may even be struggling with his own problems behind the scenes. But what made his actions powerful was not money, it was compassion. He noticed pain in another human being and chose to care. That simple decision carried more emotional value than anything money could buy in that moment. See, compassion has the ability to heal emotional wounds that money cannot touch. A caring word can calm anxiety. A kind gesture can restore hope. Genuine empathy can make someone feel seen during moments when they feel completely alone. People often remember how someone made them feel far longer than they remember financial help or material gifts. Because deep down, every human being wants to feel understood, valued, and cared for. The world today desperately needs more compassion. People are becoming emotionally disconnected. Social media has made many individuals obsessed with appearances, status, and personal gain while ignoring the struggles happening around them every day. Everybody is rushing, distracted, and focused on themselves, but compassion slows people down long enough to recognize another person's pain. It reminds humanity that life is not only about success, but also about kindness. What made that delivery driver special was not his job title or financial status, it was his heart. His willingness to show care during somebody else's darkest moment became more meaningful than any expensive gift ever could. And that is why compassion holds so much power. It reaches places money cannot reach. It comforts people in ways wealth never can. Sometimes a single moment of genuine kindness becomes the very thing that helps somebody keep going when life feels impossible. Humanity still exists in this world, even though many people have started believing otherwise. Every day we hear stories about betrayal, selfishness, violence, dishonesty, and cruelty, and after a while it becomes easy to lose faith in people. Social media constantly shows negativity. News headlines are filled with pain and conflict. People are becoming colder, more impatient, and more disconnected from each other. Many individuals walk around carrying emotional scars because they trusted the wrong people or experienced disappointment too many times. Slowly, they begin to believe that kindness is rare and genuine people no longer exist. But every once in a while, life sends a reminder that goodness is still alive through ordinary people performing extraordinary acts of compassion. Imagine a woman overwhelmed with the pressure of caring for her sick husband. Every single day feels emotionally exhausting. She is trying to stay strong, trying to manage responsibilities, and trying not to fall apart under the weight of fear and stress. When someone you love is suffering, it affects every part of your life. Your mind becomes tired, your emotions become fragile, even the smallest tasks begin to feel heavy. In moments like that, people often feel isolated from the rest of the world, as if nobody notices their pain or understands what they are going through. Then an ordinary delivery driver shows up at her door. To most people, he is just another worker completing another delivery during a busy day. But humanity reveals itself in the smallest moments. Instead of simply dropping off the order and leaving, he notices something deeper. He notices sadness. He notices emotional exhaustion. He recognizes that this woman is carrying more pain than words can explain. And rather than ignoring it like many people would, he chooses compassion. That moment matters more than most people realize because small acts of humanity restore hope in broken hearts. When someone is struggling emotionally, even the smallest kindness can feel overwhelming. A caring voice, a patient conversation, or a simple gesture of support can remind people they are not alone. In a world where so many individuals feel invisible, being seen by another human being becomes powerful. The truth is, humanity does not disappear completely. It simply becomes quieter in a noisy world. There are still people who help strangers without expecting anything in return. There are still individuals who choose kindness over cruelty, patience over anger, and compassion over selfishness. They may not always be visible on television or social media, but they exist everywhere. Sometimes they are delivery drivers, nurses, teachers, neighbors, or complete strangers who decide to care at the right moment. One act of humanity can completely change how somebody sees the world. A person who was losing hope can suddenly feel strength again because another human being reminded them that goodness still exists. That delivery driver may never fully understand the emotional impact of his actions, but to that struggling woman, his kindness became proof that not everybody has become cold-hearted. In her darkest moments, someone chose empathy instead of indifference. What makes humanity beautiful is that it spreads naturally. Kindness inspires kindness. Compassion encourages compassion. When people experience genuine care, they often feel inspired to pass that same kindness to others. One selfless moment can create a chain reaction that reaches far beyond what anyone can see. That is how humanity survives, not through perfection, but through ordinary people making small choices to care about each other despite the hardships of life. Selfless people inspire everyone around them because true kindness carries a power that reaches far beyond a single moment. In a world where many individuals are focused only on themselves, people who choose to help others without expecting anything in return stand out in a powerful way. Their actions remind humanity what genuine compassion looks like. They prove that goodness still exists even during difficult times. Most people are used to seeing selfish behavior everywhere, people chasing attention, money, personal gain, and recognition. That is why selfless individuals leave such a deep impact on others. Their kindness feels rare, real, and unforgettable. Imagine a delivery driver working through a long and exhausting day. He has deliveries to complete, places to be, and personal responsibilities waiting for him outside of work. Like everyone else, he probably has his own struggles, worries, and stress. Yet despite all of that, he notices something important when he arrives at a woman's home. He sees pain in her eyes. He notices emotional exhaustion on her face. He senses that something heavy is happening in her life. Most people would ignore it because society has trained people to keep moving, stay busy, and avoid getting involved in other people's problems. But selfless people are different. They choose compassion, even when it is inconvenient. That delivery driver may not have realized it, but his kindness had the power to inspire more than just the woman standing in front of him. Acts of selflessness create emotional ripples. When one person chooses compassion, others who witness or hear about it begin to feel inspired too. It reminds people that humanity still matters. It encourages others to become softer, kinder, and more understanding toward the struggles around them. Many individuals today are emotionally tired because life has become heavy. People are dealing with stress, financial pressure, heartbreak, loneliness, anxiety, and disappointment every single day. Some are silently carrying burdens nobody knows about. In moments like these, selfless people become lights in dark places. They restore hope in hearts that were beginning to lose faith in humanity. Sometimes one caring action becomes the exact thing somebody needed to keep going. The powerful thing about selfless people is that they help without looking for applause. They don't help because cameras are watching. They don't care about becoming famous online or receiving praise from strangers. Their kindness comes from the heart. And genuine kindness touches people deeply because it feels pure. In a world where many actions are motivated by personal benefit, sincerity becomes incredibly meaningful. That delivery driver may have thought he was simply helping someone during a difficult moment, but what he really did was remind another human being that she was not alone. For a woman emotionally exhausted from caring for her sick husband, even a small moment of compassion could feel overwhelming. Sometimes people don't need grand solutions. They just need someone to care enough to notice their pain. Selfless people also inspire others because their actions challenge the negativity that exists in society. They remind everyone that kindness is still possible. Every compassionate act sends a message that the world has not completely lost its humanity. And often, witnessing one act of goodness encourages others to perform their own acts of kindness. One caring heart influences another, creating a chain reaction that spreads farther than anyone realizes. The beauty of selflessness is that it creates emotional healing, not only for the person receiving kindness, but also for the people witnessing it. It softens hearts. It restores faith. It reminds people that life is not only about surviving for yourself, but also about lifting others when they are struggling. Real inspiration does not come from wealth, fame, or status. It comes from ordinary people choosing to care about others during moments when compassion matters most.